Hi, I'm Diane Canada. Welcome to the show today. So glad you're here. Ladies, today we're going to be talking about what steals our peace and our joy. What robs us of that? I've been going through some stuff lately that I want to share with you that I've noticed has robbed me a bit of my peace and joy. And even though I've tried to put safeguards in place to protect it, it kind of sneaks up on you. All of a sudden you're frustrated. That's usually my first indicator. When I get frustrated, I know I'm kind of out of God's peace. But it sneaks up, right? It's like you're kind of already there before you realize it. We want to realize it quicker. We want to protect our peace. So today, let's walk through some things that rob us of it and see what we can do to prevent that. All right, I'll be right back.
Women of America, here's some breaking news. Ain't no cavalry coming to save the red from the rabid blue. We have the power, time to take the field. Step up and into your ruby red heels. Taking back this house, taking back this town. Mama, don't back down, just lady up, lady up, lady up.
Easier said than done, right? We want to protect our peace. I mean, for those of us who've been walking with the Lord for a while, we know what it feels like to walk in that peace, the peace that only He can provide, that peace that it's like no matter what's raging all around us, we have that stability in our emotions inside. Not that some things can't rattle us, but for the most part, our default is peace, right? Joy just meaning we're not walking around giddy and, laughing all the time. Joy just means that we have that assurance all the time that no matter what's going on, God's in control. He's on the throne. It's all going to work out for our good. And so it just keeps us stable. So I kind of think peace and joy go together. I think they're of the same, they're like, two sides of the same spiritual coin, if you will. But what robs us of it? And gosh, it's just so subtle. These things that can happen that are so subtle. And then we just I don't know about y'all, but I'll wake up sometimes and it'll be like, gosh, I'm just really irritable today. Or, I don't know why, but just everything's making me mad today. Or like, maybe I just noticed that I can't settle down. It's like my emotions or my thoughts are all over the place. It feels like it's so noisy in my head. Those are all things that are disruptive to our peace and to our joy. And so I've just been intentional, about trying to catch it quicker. Like the minute that I notice it, try to catch it and sit myself down and go, okay, Diane, what's going on? What's going on the inside? Again, I always say this, that we are so much more effective on this spiritual battleground when we are stable, when we are healed, when we're not bleeding all over the field, right? With open wounds, emotional wounds. We're not easily offended. We're not easily rattled. All those things have to do with peace and joy. So I'm very vigilant about mine. Obviously, I want you to be too, but it's like I'm out here teaching this stuff. So I feel like I kind of have to have an extra dose of it or be a little bit more vigilant. If I've got women that are following me that I'm trying to pour into them. And, for those of you who are leaders, who have people watching you, children watching you, other friends that are learning from you, we just sort of have a tighter leash on that. So in order for us to not appear hypocritical or to not be coming off as, teaching things that we don't walk out ourselves, we have to be very vigilant. So I've just been asking myself, what's going on? What's going on, Diane? So I kind of narrowed a few things down to what I think are the root causes of it. And I welcome your comments too. What throws off your peace and your joy? But let's just talk through a few today. So one of the things that I think really throws mine off is when I'm being indecisive. When I have a decision to make and I'm entertaining, and yes, you want to think through your decisions. You don't just want to make split decisions, especially if it's a big one. You want to give it a lot of time, give it a lot of prayer, give it a lot of thought, weigh out the pros and cons. Yes, there's a process to all that. But what I'm talking about is once you've done all that and you feel like you've arrived at a decision and then you question it and you sort of teeter-totter on it. You're like, okay, I feel like this is the right thing to do. I'm going to do this. And then you go, well, but, and you start down that what if path or that path of, well, maybe I should just give it a little more time, or maybe I should just wait and see what happens. And those kinds of indecisive traps, I think, rob us of our peace and joy. It's like, on the inside what you should do, and you sort of diminish that because you just want to wait and see what happens. I've done this a lot lately. Like over the last few years, I have caught myself doing this a lot where, like, even in just building Lady Up, I'll give you one example. Like in building my training program, Lady Up America, like I am clear now, like crystal clear on what I'm supposed to be doing, how I'm supposed to be doing it. And for me, what I think is happening is that clarity that I have constantly gets tested when things come in that sort of distract me from it. And they seem like they're good things, right? So like I'm wanting to go like from point A to point B, and I'm on a direct path to that, right? And then somebody comes in and they say, "Well, could you, could you do this?" Or, "Hey, we want to just kind of partner up with you and do this," or "We want to offer you this." And you start to kind of think, okay, so maybe I should deter my point A to point B a little bit. Maybe I should just sort of entertain this. And before you know it, you're like, 50 miles down that path before you realize that's not the path, and you have to turn around and come back and then get back on your right path again. Like that's been happening to me a lot lately. I'll just give you one example. I had a film company that came to me, and great people. But we were entertaining these ideas on how we could turn Lady Up America into a reality show. They had this producer that I worked with for about 4 months. Like we were just turning over every rock and looking at every possible scenario for the treatment, what they call the treatment, like how we could set the story up or how we could set the show up. And we were talking to different people and entertaining all these ideas. And in my gut, I knew that this was not the path for me, but I kept like waiting. Well, maybe I just haven't given it enough time, or, well, maybe I'm just too stuck on maybe I'm being too stringent about my point A to point B. Maybe I need to open myself up to other possibilities. And I start like justifying all of this distraction, right? And we get 4 months down the road on this. And I've spent now countless hours in planning meetings and exploration meetings, discovery meetings, only to arrive at the place where I knew that wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. And I had to walk away from it. And I came back and I'm like, why didn't I just stay on the point A to point B? Like, why didn't I just keep my head down and just do what I knew I was supposed to do? But sometimes you don't know till you step out. And I think you can learn something from every scenario. But if you know that you know that you know that you know what you're supposed to be doing, and we allow these distractions to keep kind of throwing us off course, I think that is a lot of times that's an enemy tactic. Because if we have a destiny, we have a purpose that God has laid out for our lives, and he can keep us from reaching it, then that will definitely disturb our peace and our joy when we start letting people kind of pull us off on these rabbit trails and pull us away from the focus that we know we're supposed to have. So that's one thing. And it's, gosh, like I said, it's so subtle, right? It can happen so easily, or so in the minutia of your life that you don't even realize it's happening. And you can just wake up one day and go, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? And then you can get back on track. A big one that robs us of our peace and joy is when we set a boundary, then we relax it. You ever have that happen? It's like you tell someone what your boundary is, and then they test it or they push past it, and you let them. And you don't speak up for yourself. Like you don't enforce the boundary. And then again, before you know it, they've advanced further and further and further past that boundary. And now you're resentful. Now you're mad. And you're not, you're mad at them, obviously, but you're more mad at yourself for letting it happen. Like that's a big one of just not standing up for ourselves, not taking that stand. It's really difficult to be in confrontation with someone. It's so hard to stand up for ourselves sometimes, especially when it's somebody we really love, or even just a friend that we really like. You don't want to come across as the hard-nosed, inflexible one. You feel like, well, maybe you make excuses for them. Well, they didn't mean it, or well, they probably just didn't realize, or well, it's like we make all these excuses to excuse behavior for everyone else, but we just don't show up for ourselves. It's like we teach them how to treat us. We do that. And by allowing people to just walk over your boundaries, and I'm talking to me too, Diane, by allowing that, we're teaching them that it's okay for them to do that. We're like conditioning them for what we will and won't accept, or what we will and won't put up with. And it's like it betrays us. We betray ourselves when we don't stand up. But gosh, it's uncomfortable to stand up. I get that. It's like, it's so, like you just wish you didn't have to do it. I think a lot of times we let people do that to us and we think, well, I'll let it go this time. They won't do it again. They probably just didn't realize. And well, next time I'll say something. If they do it again, I'll say something. No, y'all, we got to say something the first time. We got to be brave and speak out and say, hey, and you don't have to be ugly about it. You can just say, hey, listen, I'm sure you didn't mean it, but this is just a really strong boundary that I have, and I'm going to need you to respect that. You can say it in a nice way, but the point is you got to say it. You got to speak up. You got to show up for yourself. And I'm talking to me just like I'm talking to you. I do it. I do it too. I think the key is catching it very quickly and handling it when we catch ourselves doing it. This next one that I'm going to talk about might seem like a little thing, but it's really not. Like, one of the things that steals my peace and joy a lot is if I don't take care of myself like I should. And what I mean by that is if I cram everybody else's stuff into my calendar and there's not enough time on there to take care of the things that I need to do, I get really frustrated. I get my peace and my joy really get off. And I do it. Nobody controls my calendar except for me. I do it to myself. You probably do it to yourself, but it's like you don't leave any buffer time in there to take care of you. And I'll just give you an example. Like back when I had my television show, Nashville Unleashed, we had a full crew. Like we had producers, we had a director, we had a film crew, we had all these, hands, these assistants, we had a sound engineer, we had, all these people. And it was amazing. They're amazing, amazingly talented, all that. We also had a roster of artists that would change every show. So I'm trying to work with the team and make sure we have all the information to everyone, when to show up, when their taping time is, all these things, right? So even though I have a crew, as you know, when you're the kind of the visionary for the show, then, you're expected to make a lot of the decisions, and especially last minute decisions. So I would constantly, like the day of a taping, I would constantly be putting out fires, answering people's questions, making sure everybody was taken care of, making sure the catering was out, making sure, right, that everything was set for everyone else. And then I would realize that it was like, 20 minutes until taping time, and I hadn't done my hair, I hadn't done my makeup, and I didn't even know what I was wearing, and I would literally like go slap myself together and then slide into my seat and the camera would go on. And I would feel, half baked, right? I would feel like I wasn't, like I hadn't shown up for myself. Like everybody else was all comfortable and pampered and taken care of. And I just sort of put myself on the back burner and slid into the seat. And I felt it too. When it was my turn to sing, I didn't feel as prepared. I didn't feel ready. Like I didn't feel like I could really give my best. And I learned over the years to operate under that and just kind of turn it on, so to speak, when I had to, but I wasn't at my best. And it's even the same now. Like, I'm in a lot of ways, in that same position. I'm the visionary for Lady Up and I'm doing a lot of things myself. And when I'm giving events, I'm wanting everybody to be taken care of and all this. Meanwhile, I'm not really taking care of myself. So I've had to really rein that in. And even showing up here for the podcast each week, like it's important to me, again, to be prayed up, to be showing up here prepared and ready and very surrendered to God, so that the things that I'm saying will come across authentically and in a genuine way where you're feeling that love through the camera and you're feeling that inspiration. I want to be here for you. I love being here for you, but I've also got to build that buffer time in to take care of myself too, to get the exercise in, to get that time in with God. Another thing that really robs us of our peace and joy is not spending enough time with God and in our Bible. That is a big one. That is a really big one, you guys. When we get so busy, like, we just sort of forget to get in our Bible, or we just don't have the time, or we, get up and we run out the door first thing in the morning. We don't take that time with him. That makes a big difference. Now it's like, I don't dare leave my house without being prayed up, suited up in my spiritual armor, having that one-on-one time with God. And I mean, that's like super, super protective time for me now. And even like early morning appointments, I really limit those, because I just notice like my whole day is different if I don't have that early conversation and that early intimacy with the Lord. So it's really important for us to show up for ourselves in lots of ways. So showing up for ourselves by placing boundaries, showing up for ourselves by not second guessing all of our decisions, showing up for ourselves by allowing enough buffer time into our calendar so that we're not sliding into home all the time, right? Frazzled. If you notice, I got a new haircut and a new color, and it felt really good to go and get, go and make some intentional changes. Like, one of the things that I'm thinking about, even with this cut, is it's going to be so much easier for me to get out the door and go do things. My hair's a lot shorter now, and I'm able to, just use a flat iron on it, and I can get out the door quicker, and it'll hold its shape all day. I'm thinking about this because I know we're coming up again on another election cycle. And I learned from the last few that sometimes I have to be out all day and I can't get back in front of a mirror or in front of a curling iron. So whatever cut I have has got to last me all day, and sometimes into multiple events and into an evening. So just being, again, intentional about saying, okay, how can I show up and feel like I'm put together and I'm able to sustain whatever I've got to do. Thinking through that. It might seem small, but it's important. It rattles our peace and our joy when we don't feel like we look our best, or we can't show up looking our best. So anyway, I know these are a lot of things that you struggle with too. And I mean, I've been serving women for a long time, and I just want to encourage us to protect our peace and our joy at all costs. And it doesn't make you, I'm just going to say it. Y'all know I don't like to cuss or anything, but it's just, there's no other word. You know that it doesn't make us a bitch just because we are showing up for ourselves. It doesn't. If we show up for ourselves and we protect our peace and our joy, then we're going to be able to show up so much more effectively for everyone else, for our kids, for our families, at work, whatever it is that you do, whatever it is where you need to be on. All these things matter. All these things help you be an effective warrior on the spiritual battleground. And I was saying this to someone earlier today, that I think people are so drawn to peace and joy in such an emotionally charged world that we're living in right now. I think people are really gravitating toward people who are grounded and who are unrattled and who are emotionally stable. Like, those qualities are worth putting some effort into mastering. I really believe that. Okay, ladies, I hope this helps you today. Protect your peace, protect your joy. So important. And don't forget that we can always go to the Holy Spirit and ask him for an extra dose. If you're facing something super challenging that day, or something that you're going to be around someone that is going to challenge your joy, ask God for an extra dose that day. Ask God to help soften your heart toward them, or to give you wisdom in the situation. And always, I say this all the time, ask God in the moment. God, give me the words. God, give me the words. But do what you can to catch it quick, get back on track, protect your peace and your joy. So super important. I love you, ladies. Hope y'all have a great rest of your week. I'll see you again very soon. And lady up.
Taking back this house, taking back this town. Mama, don't back down. Just a lady up.